So we see this 6-point city that black completed, this 4-point city that red completed, and these are the two monasteries that I would mention. This is already a massive opening advantage for black. As you might remember from my stream with Marian Kurkan, he said that the first player to draw a monastery typically wins the opening battle and gets the opening advantage. But how about two monasteries? Of course, now red draws a monastery response, which they absolutely should meeple because you have to equalize these points. And now it's a good question of where to meeple this. It's a possibility. It was also possible to meeple this one square lower over here to get some points for the city. It was possible even to meeple this on the right with just 2 points, but having some sensitive squares here with pressure on this meeple, pressure on this meeple. But in the meantime, black just gets these city caps and extends his advantage. Of course, we believe that red will now block this monastery, but it doesn't matter that much because black is just ahead on points.
Maybe he will block and farm. This farm is very good in the beginning, 6 points, potentially nine, and well, way more because it's very open. Yeah,
Exactly, lots of green squares. It looks like it would be quite important to get your first meeple there, and this would be the strategy how red can get back into the game. So he can get the meeple advantage by blocking the monastery, and he can also try and create a huge field that would, I don't know, end up being 30 points at the end of the game, and try to utilize his meeple advantage to win that field outright.
yeah. Now it's a not very easy tile for self-evident. Hmm, interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised that the player with the red meeples actually kind of thought a lot about making what I think is a natural move. So he did heed our advice, he did farm. But then it took him like 2 seconds to make a move which is really not that obvious.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure if I'm such a huge fan of this move because it really limits the potential of your field a lot. And I mean, you're also adding 2 points to your opponent.
exactly.
I
Two
don't know how I
points.
feel about that.
I think, well, he expecting to give a double block, but with one, it's kind of double block, okay? But I don't know. I don't like this move very much. I think he's limiting the farm expansion, and now 3106 can made it again. Well,
Did you
let's
see
see what
that?
happens.
Did you see that, Melvin? Like
Yeah, he's
this.
trying to make the double block now.
But I think, you know what? The double block shouldn't bother black very much. If
Yeah.
anything, if I were black, I might just help him complete the block now. Uh, because this move, it was actually quite brilliant in my view because it sacrificed 1 point. Instead of taking his road meeple black chose to limit the field and eliminate the possibility of a 4-point city. And it seems to me
Uh-huh.
that black already is recognizing his advantage, and now he just wants to play in such a way that would preserve his advantage. So he doesn't need any more big points in this game.
Well, but now the advantage is not very clear actually, as Red has two monasteries and this small farm of 6 points. Um, but well, nice blocking. That's what I thought. Blocking again, and well, this game is very interesting because it seems to be very blocked at the time.
And usually, such arrangements favor the player with the more points because the more blocked squares, the fewer opportunities there are for big
Yeah.
points. But that's a biggie, the divider. This actually help red a lot here, and this monastery square is even live. And you gotta start wondering now if the Japanese player might have blocked overzealously a little bit. So over here, sacrificing some points, even though I do like this move. Over here, sacrificing a point. Over here, sacrificing 2 points. So now
Oh,
then it looks like red with the right tiles, the player with the red
yeah,
meeples might just come back, and now red will probably save his monastery as well, and he will
yeah,
have a 25% chance of saving both monasteries. The reason I'm saying it's 25% because there are two tiles, well, that fit over here, and there are
mm,
two tiles that fit over here, and I think this was a quite a horrible move actually, if
yeah.
I'm completely honest.
Many tiles to complete the city over and the road. Well, and strange again. Well, limiting the farm. It's interesting, but I would prefer to give the block. But I think it's nice to limit the farm expansion as well, of course.
It does seem that it's quite urgent because this move is really powerful. It's just with one straight line, you get. Well, this farm is completely enclosed. And yes, and this is exactly the reason why I'm not a fan of the move by the player with the red meeples. Just
Hmm.
because this is possible to save. And now also red pre-building a road for black.
Yeah,
And there's still 4 tiles that fit in this square over here.
probably red goes with everything for yes for the block now.
Well, he does get an advantageous tile to do that, but actually blocks from this side, when you have two straight lines, they're usually very low probability because it's actually quite easy to defend against it, and this is exactly what
Yeah,
black does.
75%. There are two in stock, right? Yeah, two,
Yeah.
two available. 75%. It's a very good chance.
Oh, okay. Gotta move the thingy. Uh, Thank you for letting us know. I'm just gonna move everything over here so that none of us cover it.
Okay.
Now, if you're red, yeah, I was about to ask, do you save your city or do you try and connect to Black's road? Like, do you take a curve and then commit to this meeple here?
I would take the road for sure. And well, I know he's saving the monastery, not saving, but 25% of chances to save it, both at least. But you are limiting the farm like forever because, well, the curve now, if the curve goes to the other side, the farm would be a little bit more open. But it's not the case. He's saving the monastery, making 1 point, but at the same time, I don't like it very much because it's limiting the farm. So I would let it to the opponent. Not, I would not use my turn to do it. I would prefer to take the road because 75%, at least in my mind, it's too much. And I think Black will close the city. Well, it has great chances to close the city and the road.
That's true, but then if you're red here, do you think that you're already in such a position that you need to hope for your opponent not getting the his 75%? Like, do you think you actually have, a chance to win unless you draw both of your opponent's tiles here?
Yeah, I think it's too much hope. Oh, nice move. Very nice move.
Yeah, I actually quite like that because you look, it pre-builds a road over here, and I think that was one of the reasons why red did this.
Yeah,
So
very
now
nice.
now he has a 75% chance of completing at least one of the monasteries, and and when he completes the monastery, he gets
Making
this
these points.
5 point road.
Yeah, actually 7 points because I know it's 5 points road, but it's one more for the monastery, one more for the city, and the 5 points road. It will be an amazing turn. Yeah, very very nice, very well done. Oh,
Exactly.
I think my image is covering the board again, Alexei.
Uh-huh.
I think
Uh-huh.
make it maybe smaller,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, no, no. It's good. I moved it. Thank you for the compliment. Uh,
Thank you, Ale Rosario. You're
yeah.
very kind.
Righty, let's keep making sense of this. So again, I have no idea what Black's gonna do now. I mean, probably start some sort of city. But do you think that will be a 4 point city, or do you think it makes sense for Black to start taking this city over here and try to build a bigger one? Never mind, Black already makes the decision and just starts a city
Yeah.
in the bottom.
Now very tile for self-evident.
And now the question: do you do it or not? I like a farmer there actually.
Yeah, I like a farm because it's what I call anticipation move. It's obvious that when 3106 can close the city, he will farm. It's a must because it's a 12 points farm. So you anticipate the problem. You already farm it because you're gonna fight for it in the end. So maybe it's better to anticipate now. But maybe he was afraid of working with just one meeple at this point, you know.
I
But
mean, he still has outs to take further meeples, and it just looks because it's a 12 point farm,
yeah, yeah.
effectively. Yeah, and so he does this anyway, but just on the next move. So I'm not sure how I feel about
Yeah.
that.
Well, very nice timing because I'm sure the Japanese would farm right now.
Yeah, it
But
would guarantee the Japanese player the victory. And then still there's still a connection spot to this farm from above. And I guess we want to do something about this if we're the Chinese player. Do you think it makes sense to maybe take this triangle and put this over here and somehow limit this square over here,
like he did,
like he did? Yeah.
we should count. But I think with two closing with this road for as a call for the left, but well, it depends on the reference. I think I don't like it very much because we still have all the three, not all, but three triangles with road, right? One, two. Yeah, there are many tiles that fit there, and it's a problem because this and the Japanese guy um, can take the castle in a single move. So I don't like this move very much, but well, let's see what happens.
This move does have the advantages of rendering curves almost useless for black because there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are still three curves, and with that move, you're taking away three tiles from your opponent, and then now red hopes to complete this block. But again, I think the main reason for this move is just there isn't any better way
I
to get
like this
value from
move.
this tile.
I like this move by the Japanese very much because in the case self-evident draws closing with crossroads, it would be a total block. It would be the worst scenario ever. But with this move, okay, there is no possibility of using the closing with roads to make black needs closing city with crossroads. So at this moment, there is no very, very strong blocking for that spot because he made as we call in Brazil, defesa à distância, or I don't know how to say it in English, but
I guess
indirect.
I guess you mean like defense
The
from a
indirect.
distance, or in our streams I usually call it indirect defense because it doesn't protect the square, but it
Yeah,
blocks the blocking square. It limits your opponent's chances to
exactly.
to
Yeah.
block the square.
Yeah. And well,
Just
it was very important because now there is no blocking possible from the Japanese. Of course, restrictions, but no blocking. Nico said self-evident is really using the Chinese block technique.
Yes, we were discussing a lot that the Chinese players tend to block um, much more on average than European players.
Mm.
But I think here is not so much a question of style, it's a question of playing with one meeple. And because the Chinese players playing with one meeple, there aren't just too many features that the play with the red meeples can take.
Mhm. 3 points, 3 points, 3 points again.
Exactly, it's absolutely necessary to.
Mm.
Uh, I see why it sort of makes it
Yeah.
a bit easier to block, but I have to say that I prefer
Yeah,
taking more
this is the
points.
problem I mentioned. I mean, of course, the Japanese would close the road and take the castle, and it's a very good turn. And well, it was possible because this nice CT was directed to the road. That's why I didn't like it very much.
Well,
So
yeah, I understand what you mean, but I think it's not like the Chinese player had many options there. Because the
yeah,
thing is,
yeah.
if you look at this tile, right, it's the tile that the red needed to win anyway. It's the tile that fit here for the 7 point move. And actually, now the Japanese player got his 25% by drawing both tiles that fit in these holes. So red decided that, you know what? If we're flipping for this tile that fits in this hole, for this city cap with a turn, then it doesn't matter if it gives my opponent even more points, because red can't win without this tile. And now probably this was the final, you know, nail
Mhm.
in this game's final score. And also, I think Melvin, you always seem to be from a position of strength, because I know, like, as one of the strongest players in the world, you don't want to leave your opponent any chances at all. Like, even if they have a 5% chance, you don't want to give them that. So I understand this mindset. I'm also kind of like this. It's just probably a scenario where beggars can't be choosers. You have to hope for a little bit of luck here if you're red. Well, you had to.
Yeah, yeah. I think self-evident is waiting for a splitter, right? There is one more splitter there.
Exactly.
Hmm.
It's quite instrumental for him to get it.
Is there triangle with road? One.
Oh,
One.
yes, there is one. So
Oh my. This is a good chance to wait for one.
I would do. Like, if I were black, I would just place it over here. And I would thus reducing my opponent's chances even further. So now, in order to hope for some kind of miracle in the game, red not only has to draw the tile that fits over here, so the only tile that's split gives him 8 points and a meeple back, but red also would have to hope to get black's tile. And this is an interesting situation here. So sometimes it looks like you don't need to risk because you're the player in the lead. However, if you make something risky but that is very high impact, it can be great because it can reduce the probability of your opponent winning in half. Because if your opponent is waiting for a specific tile, if you set up something big, that also gives you a lot of points, and you need a different tile to do that, then your opponent is forced to hope not only to get the tile that your opponent needs, but also get the tiles that you need. And this would prove as too much hoping. But the Japanese player here opts for something different, maybe calculating that there are more city caps remaining.
Yeah,
And well, this city is live technically.
perfect. Okay, blocking now, probably. But I don't know if it's possible to close the city here. Well,
It's unlikely to matter at this point. But it's good to see that the Japanese player still wants to make the precise moves.
yeah.
Okay, now that we've solved some technical difficulties, and I think we've watched an interesting game, the Japanese player showing a masterclass. I feel now I'm in a position again to remind you to meeple the like button.
Alexey, why 3 points and not 4 points in the city in the right side, in the upside,
Is
in
to
the up for the right?
yeah, I see what you mean over here. I think I understand this move. So the Japanese player chose to take 3 points for this road instead of 4 points for this city, let's say, uh,
To avoid the
just
four
just to
point.
block an opportunity to score a 4 point road.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. Because he counted the roads, and there are many roads as it happened. Yeah,
had red gotten a curve, red could have just gotten 3 4 points. So this is again where the Japanese player is trying to be extra precise. Also, we see the play with the black meeples winning
but in the
another
end, he
coin
made
flip.
three, and he could make 8 points because he draw the curve. So he would do four and more four, and he in the end could do only three. Yeah, but I understand the probabilities of the Chinese making the four was very high.
Exactly. Yeah. So the point was, I think, to we don't need to be results oriented. It's the play with the black meeples was trying to just secure
Yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah,
a
yeah.
100%, even though he had 100% of the game in the bag. But sometimes for an end game, it's a useful tactic to take fewer points than you could elsewhere, just so
Yeah.
that your opponent is forced to take even fewer points than you. Remember, competitive Carcassonne is a zero-sum game. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
how many points you have. Well, unless you are doing a national
Yeah.
championship in certain countries, which is a bit quite sad, but we can discuss this later. All that matters is that you have more points than your
Yeah,
opponent.
in Portuguese we say the important is the saldo. The saldo is the difference between the points and not the points you do, of course. Yeah, yeah. I didn't notice the road down and why the Japanese guy did what he did because there were curves, yes, but as it happened, for example, he made 3 points and then he draw a curve and the opponent draw a city cap, I think, or maybe just a castle. And in the end, it didn't work. But well, I understand the thinking, of course. Yes, yes, I agree with Stephen Cheng. The 3 points was better than finishing a 4 point city. Yeah, yeah.
Well, so Japan taking an early lead in the match, but it looks like China's about to equalize, where the Chinese play with his queen and Mitao Cat is 18 points ahead on the scoreboard against the Japanese player with his queen and Momo traps. Also, we can see that the Chinese player has a 9 point field over here above. Whoops, I'm probably gonna need to move it a little bit. Yeah, and then a
Yeah,
6 point field over here. Some nice ruins.
I'm opening the game. It's the Metal Cat game.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh,
Okay.
I can also do this, Melvin, if it helps.
Okay, I opened. I have the game here. And Cab, the names are very hard for me to say. Cab 180 wins Balala 1-0. So second point for Japan.
Second small points. Yeah,
Thanks, Nick.
I'm not at all familiar with this Japanese player, so I'm not sure if it's an upset or not. But I guess a Japanese player winning is never an upset. In the meantime, as we wait for the players to finish this game, it would be good to remind you about our prediction game. So, whilst the finals of the World Team Championship is happening, we have a way more important finals going on. Is today it will be decided who's gonna win this baby over here, the 20 years edition physical Carcassonne set. And earlier in the season, I asked you to predict who's going to win the championship, who's going to take the third and second place. And now the final battle, it will be between, we got 23 predictions, but the final battle will be between two players, Crafty Raff from who predicted that Japan would win, I think, and the player with the screen name Playoff Arena who predicted that China would win. And of course, there were several bets on China and several on Japan. I think there were 9 bets on Japan overall and 6 bets on China. But only these two players predicted that the third place finisher would be RCP, and this is our tiebreaker. So the prediction game is between two of our viewers at the moment. So it's actually a 1-to-1 battle as well.
Oh, so just for my curiosity, no player predicted Portugal as fourth place. I mean, those two players, they didn't predict Portugal, right?
No. One of them predicted. I don't remember what they predicted quite, but I think one of them predicted Netherlands.
Okay.
I could look that up actually. Yeah. So there were players who predicted Portugal being in the top 4, but they didn't predict either China or Japan
Yeah,
winning.
yeah, yeah.
As a reminder, Portugal was in the top 4 yesterday. They lost 1-4 to RCP players,
Mm-hmm.
which is redundant because P stands for players in RCP. So interesting here that Red chose not to meeple the 7-point monastery. Oh, assuming because Red's, yeah, had chances to connect.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a game with lots of blocking as well, because we see some blocked squares here, here.
Yeah.
And even though the meeple count is equal or close to equal, it looks like just green was able to plow away with points, ruin over here, just building.
Mm-hmm.
And now I see that this farmer over here, which is only 6 points, so it's possible that this farmer created a temporary meeple advantage for green that green was able to utilize. But of course, your guess is as good as mine.
Well, one curve remaining, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And here it is.
It's not going to help Red, but at least Red did all they could to maximize the number of points that they had. So speaking of which, I was
Mhm.
wasn't. Could you remind me in which country was that? We recently discussed that in the Carcassonne, in the international Carcassonne community, that a tiebreaker for the national championship in case of a tie was not the point difference but the total number of points. Was that
Oh,
Argentina?
it was Argentina, and it happened in Brazil in 2017 as well. It was a huge mistake, but well, yeah.
So it's an interesting
Ah,
situation here that I think in some countries, the organizers of Carcassonne tournaments are not always Carcassonne players themselves, and that sometimes leads to funny situations like this.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. The same problem here, and in many countries, is that the organizers are not Carcassonne players, and they don't understand Carcassonne as a mind sport so many times, and well, it makes a lot of difference. But now in Brazil, we could improve a lot. I think the nationals is going to be way better than always because we could do really nice changes, for this year. The publisher listened to the players and well, thanks Devir if you're watching this, because the changes are very important for us, of course. So but well, I think the difference of points is the third tiebreaker in the World Championship, right? But the difference, and I don't like it very much, but I still understand because there is no more options. It's book hose, then it's medium book hose, right? And the third one is the difference of points. Okay, it's just the third option, but it's the difference of points. It's still better than the total amount of points. And Nico said, luckily, the players here can now try to persuade the organizers to do it differently. And yes, I think this is the importance of Carcassonne groups because when you have many players together, you are stronger, and it's very important to ask those changes to the publishers. And well, this is how we can change Carcassonne.
So this is something I also wanted to talk to you about today, given that it is taking players quite time to make quite an obvious final move. Well, I mean, come on, Green. Green can take 3 points for the
Yeah,
city
yeah,
over
exactly.
here.
I don't know exactly what he's thinking about.
I don't know, maybe they're away from the screen or something, but it gives us a bit of time to talk. So I do quite admire about the Carcassonne Brazil in general and your project and how you were able to organize. So it's something that many other countries can learn from, and many do. I do feel that you've inspired a lot of other countries. Can you tell me briefly like, how the idea for the Carcassonne Brazil project came about, and how many co-founders were there?
Well, we started Carcassonne Brazil in 2020 after the first WTCOC. We had a team of 80 players, and I was talking to Fukuda. You know Humberto Fukuda, you all know them probably. He was twice in Essen. He was the first competitive Brazilian players that was very well known in our country. And I was talking to Fukuda. We are very close friends and we thought why we don't create something bigger than this small group of 80 players. So we opened a community in WhatsApp and we started to call people that like Carcassonne. And we started with 8, then we have 20, and then 30, and now we have 200 people in the community. You can see many Brazilian players in BJ with the avatar. We started to do streamings and mentoring programs and many things to spread Carcassonne as a mind sport. So Carcassonne Brazil, it was created with this idea of making Carcassonne more popular in our country. We have many games that are kind of popular, like Catan, for example. He's more popular than Carcassonne, but with no competitive scenario. With Carcassonne, we started something that we are really proud of doing. That is this idea of developing Carcassonne as a mind sport and not only as a product. Because Carcassonne, before Carcassonne Brazil, it was just a product, just a game. But now we see it as a sport. I think this is the key point to change the idea of the game, not just a family game, but a sport. For example, the qualifying for nationals until last year, it was all four people table, 4 and 3 people table. Now it's all one versus one because we could convince the publisher that Carcassonne competitive is one versus one, not for a full table. And well, those kind of changings are very important for us, and this is our battle. Now the finals is going to be played in better best of three matches, for example, and it's a very nice things for Carcassonne as a sport as well. We have 2 days of competition, so the nationals will last for 2 days and not only one. The first day is only Swiss, the second day is knockout and best of 3 matches, and well, Crafty half says, hoping for one versus one next year in Belgium as well. Friends, you have Carcassonne Belgium. That is an amazing group. Just talk to the publisher and let's try. I think it's possible for sure. And Metalcat is still thinking.
I think so, yeah. So we might probably go to a different game and come back to Metallica a little bit later. I suggest maybe we have a look at the Doctor's game because all the other duels have finished. We just got news that Japan got yet another point, well, little point. With the player with the screen name Pyro283, Japanese players seem to really
And
like numbers in their screen
won
name.
against Dr. Kaihan. So it's one more point for Japan. Doctor lose.
Oh, interesting. So we're actually going to have two games finishing at the same time. Well, I assume that the Japanese player is now going to make the move after the Chinese player over here did manage to get
Yeah.
these 3 points. So shall we stick with Mitao over here, or shall we go to the Doctor's game? Because they're
Uh,
both about to start now.
yeah, it's up to you, Alexey, or the viewers. I don't know if you want to ask the spectators what they prefer.
Well, I think we had one vote from the audience for uh, for this duel.
Okay. This is the only duel that China won, right? Or am I wrong?
I think so, yeah. So far, basically, China cannot afford to lose many more games.
Yeah.
So let me see if I have any further preferences in the. Okay, no, everybody wants to go to watch the
Let's go for
Doctor,
the
so we're gonna watch
doctor.
the Doctor.
The doctor. It's fun to call him the doctor.
I know. Maybe he'll just like change his screen name as a result.
Okay.
And also his game has already started.
Yeah.
Actually, just the very start over here. So this first move, starring a potentially 4-point road, a 2-point road, creating attacking platforms for the city. So now this city is not looking particularly interesting. I was again an unusual move on the third move. So usually with this straight line, I just try to equalize this with the road. Instead, the Chinese player creates a a blocking opportunity, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to block even further stuff. Possibly, if we have a curve over here and we have a straight line over here, it's all going to connect, and then this meeple will get lost with 4 points. Then maybe the Chinese player will get a like a triangle with a road or something, and then block this square as well, and then everything will get blocked, and then both players will have 0 points until the end of the game. At least that's how I see they imagine this scenario.
Yeah, it's a good prediction.
Actually, Melvin, have you had ever a game where one of the sides had exactly 0 points before the final count?
Sorry, can you repeat the question,
Have you
Alexey?
ever had a game where one of the players had 0 points
Uh,
like during the game, so before before counting incomplete features and forms?
Oh, I think yeah, you're asking if it already happened.
Yes, in your personal experience, if you've played such a game.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, honestly. But in Brazil, we have our achievements and records. That is a section of our website for giant roads, people with 0 points until the end of the game, and this is one of the achievements. I've since it was created, I never did it. So maybe a long time in the past. Have you already did this?
I
Zero
th-
point for the opponent until the end in the scoreboard or fourth?
uh, I was very close to that. I think, but I know that the former captain of the former Lithuanian Latvian combined national team,
Uh,
Batal Albotov, he actually had this. He sends us a screenshot. So these things do happen.
yeah.
Yes, so we also have some questions. Craft Giraffe is asking, what is your opinion on move number 2? Could you put the curve one square lower, preventing your opponent from meepling the road? So basically, Raf was suggesting placing this curve one square lower and just trying to indirectly take this 4-point road. Yes, I agree. That's actually what I typically do. But I think this response is also legit, just trying to make sure that the city does not get completely easily created these two blocking platforms. We have even further question in the chat while the players are thinking. It's a quite a close position, so the players are
Yeah.
thinking a lot. Hi Melvin and Alexey, how do you manage the time in your nationals? Are you using like chess clocks or similar? So I can answer first because I've participated in 2 national championships. In Latvia, there are no clocks. Typically, I think we sometimes had clocks for the playoff stage, but because the day, it's not part of a bigger event, it's not part of a board game exhibition, it's just for the National Carcassonne Championship is a separate event. And I think just because we don't, the organizer didn't want to buy too many chess clocks, then the players are allowed to think as much as we want, as much as they want, and we never really had issues of somebody going over time too much. Whereas in the UK, the scene is becoming a bit more competitive at the moment. So now, even though the game happens during a games exhibition, in the meantime, we see that the player with the blue meeples now not equalizing the shroud over here, which I would expect them to do, but just meeples the small city cap, which is understandable because you don't want to leave this empty city cap for your opponent. But then on the other hand, the city is quite vulnerable over here, and also red is in a quite comfortable position here with this potential 6-point road. So before we continue speaking about chess clock, I don't know, what do you think about this move, Melvin? Would have you meepled the road instead if you were blue?
Well, I would meeple the city exactly as Blue did, because I really don't like the idea of letting cities open for the opponent. There are three necks. I don't know how we call it in English. The extension, the extender,
Yeah, so
and
the
yeah,
tube
there are,
shaped extender. But to be honest, if in my streams recently, I've more and more I've started using the Brazilian term giraffe's neck. So thank you for that innovation.
yes, we call giraffes neck exactly. Well, but I like the idea of taking the road as well. Of course, I think both moves are very good. Yeah.
And look at that, the
Oh,
player.
Crafty Rap and Stephen Chang said that they already made the what you mentioned. There's 0 points for the opponent until the end. Oh, it's a very nice move for Doctor Raika now. He can take the big castle with this simple closing and a great chance to take it. No, okay,
I'm surprised actually. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think now, oh, this is an excellent monastery spot. Excellent spot. Put it here. Put it here. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. The question is, where do you turn it? I think you turn it with a straight line to the left.
Or the straight line to the right, because you have more options. You have 3 options versus 2. Oh no. Sorry. It's the blue. It's the blue. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
to the
blue.
left.
It's the
To the
blue.
left. Yeah. Sorry. So to the left. If it was red, of course, to the right. But yeah. Sorry, I saw it wrong.
Exactly. So let me just briefly explain what we're talking about. So, of course, it's a good move to meeple this 5-point monastery and control 3 of your opponent's meeple. It's like a dream spot for the monastery. And we were discussing which way to turn this road. And if you turn this road to the left, then you leave your opponent only 2 tiles that fit over here, because one of these tiles with the triple city with the crossroads has already been out. And also, it would not allow your opponent to have the full 6 points for this road. So there are
Yeah.
various scenarios, and
Yeah.
exactly this is
Perfect.
what the player with the blue meeples does, and it looks already like a sizable advantage for blue. It's always very advantageous to have a monastery next to your opponent's features, controlling your opponent's meeples. But when it's next to 3 your opponent's meeples, it's a dream spot for the monastery.
Oh, Alexei, let me just answer the answers about the clocks.
Mm-hmm.
And in Brazil, we use clocks, yes. For the nationals, we always use the 15 minutes per player with clocks. But for qualifying tournaments, it was the first time we used the app, the application, the chess clock. That is this one here, that you use in the cell phone. But for the nationals, it's normal chess clocks. 15 minutes per player. It's the standard.
So then how many would you have in the final stage? How many clocks would you need to use at the same time?
For the finals, the national finals,
Yep.
we need 35 clocks approximately, as we expect 70 players this year.
Yeah, quite a lot actually.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's good because we are popularizing the game, and now the chances to go to Essen are decreasing because the players are playing very well and they are too many. So yes, many players now. It's good, of course.
So, are you still relying on your master skills, or are you thinking about a second citizenship in Uruguay?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
So, will you still be relying on your skills to qualify from Brazil, Melvin, or are you starting to think about a second citizenship in Uruguay?
Well, of course we have hope, but um, well, I'm just going to play for the fun. I think it was very hard for me to compete, Alexei. It was really hard because I was always very tense, and it was not a pleasant moment for me to compete. But now I just think about enjoying it and relaxing, and that's what I'm going to do in the nationals. I'm going just to play. I don't think about qualifying. I just think about having fun. I think this is what I process in my mind all the time. Just have fun, just enjoy it. But well, of course, I have hope in deep of my heart to be back in Essen again.
Yeah, I do find it actually sometimes that if you don't care too much about winning, you're more likely to win. At least I noticed that for myself. So that's why usually I
Oh,
play I play better on board game arena that I play in person. Well, at least recently, because just yep. Oh, there's so many questions. We will try to answer them all. In the meantime, Blue meeples a monastery over here, taking 4 points, actually net 3 points because he's also adding a point to the Red's monastery instead of a potential 5 points over here. And I think the reason why Blue did that, Blue recognized that he was in the lead, and he just wants to prevent Red from completing this monastery all by himself. And now Red is already starting to have some devious plans. So Red's sort of kind of starts blocking the square over here because there's still dividers in the game, and if Reds get a city splitter, separates these two cities and this city, there are scenarios where Red gets to complete a city over here and Blue's little piece of city over here is blocked. Of course, it is quite far-fetched, but anything can happen still. And so red is banking on on the possibility to there be different outcomes. In the meantime, blue defends this square over here. I'm not a huge fan of this meeple over here in the first place, just because, I mean, you're kind of forced to build your opponent's stuff, which gives you 0 points. So I prefer this move without a meeple, actually. But we'll see how this stuff turns out. So also, red does not shy away from giving away his last meeple. And I assume here comes the partial block over here.
Yeah, perfect.
In the meantime, we have some more scores. The Chinese player on table number 1 has equalized. So we're gonna have a decider game, which is great. I hope that every duel ends 2 versus 1. Also got to remind you we've resolved our technical difficulties. I'm trying to procure and get Melvin to share his wisdom. Hope it deserves a meeple on the like button from you. Keep those clicks, though they matter for the algorithm a lot. So do we want for other people to discover about competitive Carcassonne or not? Of course we do. I don't know why I just did that. Sometimes,
Okay.
actually, I know why I did that. I instinctively hit refresh because when a player thinks for a long time, I start thinking if there's anything wrong with my internet connection. Apparently there isn't, but I just like to refresh the page just in case.
I do the same because there is a bug in BJ that sometimes the player red played and it doesn't refresh. At least for me, it happens sometimes. I don't know if it's common for others. So I always press refresh as well.
So now red is getting his meeple back. Red is preparing to complete this little flower city over here. Probably not about what's going to happen, but then what does blue do over here? Does blue add 2 points to red city just to prevent red from getting a triangle? And there's still 7 triangles in the game and 2 dividers, so there's many tiles that fit over here. Or does red connect to this city to prevent or does blue connect to this city over here to prevent red from dividing? Or does blue connect this city over here to try and finish his monastery, which by the looks of it is not something that's about to happen anytime soon. So opts for the safer connection, still hopes to attack this city later on. Maybe red could dump the city cap, or not the city cap, but this shieldless giraffe's neck over here, trying to create some sort of vulnerability on the left. Not many things that red can do with this tile. Possibly also drop it over here to create a sensitive square over there. But it's not really in red's interest. Red's hoping for a city splitter to try and get his meeple back, but keep blue's meeples here forever, because you see there are 2 squares where you need the same tile. While red has this dilemma, I think there were several other questions for you, Melvin. I'm going to try and just look through the chat.
Well, I think it's a good option for Dr. Kaihan to make yes, defusing direta or indirect defense as he did. I think it was a good option for this tile. We didn't have so many options for it. I really like the choice that he made.
Oh, okay, so actually trying to save his monastery a little bit as well, indirectly.
Yeah, he needs meeple more than Yanoshi right now.
And even though this square is shared by both monasteries, it's in red's interest to put the tile that fits in that square, because blue still has a couple of tiles remaining to build up and finish his monastery. So it's very useful, by the way. So try to learn from this player if you're interested in upping your competitive Carcassonne game. So red got a quite a useless tile. It was very difficult to play, but yet red found a move how to increase his probabilities, how to make at least a little accomplishment, and improve the position on the table with the seemingly useless tiles. In the
Yeah,
meantime, we
exactly.
have a big point for Japan with the player with whom we started our stream, 3106, the 14-year-old master from Japan, predictably and convincingly winning against the Chinese player with the screen name Self-Evident. We didn't see that second game, but I'm pretty sure it was just as a convincing win as the first one. And Japan takes the lead in this match, which means that China really, I said it before, but like now China really, really can't afford to lose many more games.
Oh, just giving some news. Today we had the finals of the Catalonian Nationals, and the champion is Tony Soler. So Tony Soler will represent Catalonia in Essen this year. Second place for Danish, third place for Defdien, that is David Bourdois,
Mm-hmm.
and the fourth place is Pronom Fabler, that is Nuria Casanovas. So congratulations, Tony.
Yeah, I managed to defeat all these other strong players that you just described.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Congratulations indeed. And we'll see any more and we'll see more interesting news from national championship. Actually, I wanted to say something about that a little bit later. In the meantime, I'll just comment on the action a little bit. So
Yeah.
blue over here managed to thwart red from getting a divider, and now this meeple over here looks even more sad than before, but that's okay. There is a 9-point field over here brewing, which will likely be in blue's possession because blue has the meeple advantage and he will sure utilize it very soon to take this 9-point field. On the other hand, red managed to build up a 7-point monastery, and red will likely get a meeple back by placing 2 more tiles next to this monastery, and possibly he'll be able to equalize this field in the future. So still blue in the better position, but a lot in this game will depend on how quickly red can get his meeples back.
Well, now it's a must for Bull to take this farm, right? 9 point, and well, maybe not yet.
Yeah, because actually he's thinking
Yeah,
that,
and Red take it as he has only one meeple, of course.
so that's also another thing that you can get out of your meeple advantage is that
Yeah.
you don't have that greater sense of urgency because you know that your opponent will not place his last meeple on certain features, and so you can take these
Yeah.
smaller points first and then go with the heavy artillery. Well, here comes the meeple back for red, and now red will
Well,
be preparing to take this field, and now it's time for blue
now
to
it's
take
time
this
for
field
Blue to
himself.
take it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And is there a better tile to do that? So you take the field, and you also have 2 more city caps to
Yeah,
build up.
exactly. Perfect tile to take this field. Really good.
Not obvious where to do that exactly. Actually, there could be a case for adding 1 more point for red monastery as well. So placing it over here and trying to block over here, or you place it on the left, or you place it on the right, creating a 6-point city potentially. But then you also create a 4-point city over here, and a sensitive square, and a bit of a harassment to this square. I can start liking placing this meeple to the right, but instead he goes on the conservative side, puts it to the
Yeah.
left, and at least the next tile proves him right. I don't know. Would you have meepled the farm just like this, Melvin?
Yeah, just like this. But of course, I like the option of trying to block the opponent. But well, it would not be possible as we can see now. But I would prefer to be more conservative and putting in the left, just like Yanoshi did. What would you do, Alexei?
Well, I'm not sure. But just because I'm with you today, I'm influenced by your style, and I know that you are one of the greediest players in the world, and that has worked out very well for you. So I probably would have just for fun meepled it on the right. Just to create more city caps, but I mean, Blue recognized that he doesn't need to
Yeah, it doesn't.
win this game with a lot of points. I think just meepling this field will be enough.
It's very interesting now because Doctor needs this meeple back in the monastery, and well, this tile fits perfectly in the corner, but it's two more cities in a farm that belongs to Yanoshi, so it's not an option at all. Yeah, it's kind of hard situation for this monastery and this exactly tile right now.
Exactly, and you well, long story short, you cannot use it over here.
Yeah,
And look at that. He like the play with the red meeples is finding some really good moves, I think, because he eliminated the possibility of this city cap being turned into a 4 point city, and he started a city himself and
it's
trying
super nice. Yeah.
trying to create a counter field over here. So possibly he completes the city cap, and then later he could meeple the 6 point field, so that he doesn't have to spend multiple moves on trying to equalize this 9 point field.
Well, blue can take the city on the right. It's 6 points more the field, so it's potentially 9 points, but we should count the possibilities of getting blocked or restricted. Yeah, I think I would take the city in the right side of the farm.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was better because this is also pre-building a 3 point road for your opponent, and this always favors the side with fewer
Yeah.
meeples.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And something that is important to think about that city in the right side of the farm of 9 points is that even if the opponent tries to restrict you, for example, to make you need city cap with road, like city cap with crossroad, for example. There is a concept that I like very much. That I, for the first time I read it, it was Pinder Trons talking about it, I think. He talked about the importance of the meeples during the match and the variance of the importance. When I was reading about it, I thought a lot because in the beginning of the game for blue, it was very important to make that monastery free. That needs two city caps with the crossroads. But now it's not so important because the meeple importance in the hands they vary, and now it's not so important to make that spot free. So he would probably close a city or something instead of trying to take that monastery meeple back because it's not as important as it was in the beginning. And well, that's why I think it was a nice option to take the city in the right side of the farm. I don't know if I was very clear, but I was just thinking about how red could limit the closing of the city, but well, there are many options to close it with field or with road for it. And well, in that other spot, it created. Oh, now as I told you, it's better to take this meeple back than trying to take the monastery back and the other meeple back. So well, in the end, it worked well.
exactly, I'm surprised by this move over here. It just wasting 2 points for the sake of I don't know.
trying to block.
Yeah, for the sake of not even blocking, but just creating a blocking platform. It looks almost like a sign of desperation, which I think we weren't in that territory just yet.
I think it's very interesting about the Chinese style that you mentioned it. Too much about looking places for blocking or restrictions.
But you also got to find the right spots because I think like in the long term, these moves they typically just don't work.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, so you first of all you create the blocking platform, then you need to spend one more move in a straight line like this. So you place it over here, and then your opponent gets that tile with the city anyway. So it just required so many moves that
Yeah.
these 2 points were of paramount importance, if you ask me.
Maybe that's why I never made, or at least I don't remember to have an opponent with 0 points until the end of the match, because I'm not very blocker. I don't like to spend my time trying to block as many players. I prefer to build instead of blocking. And well, but I really admire this style that is very common in Brazil as well. Very aggressive players talking about blocking.
Well, the thing, I mean, of course, you got to find the right spots as well. It's, you look at that. So red
Mm.
now fighting for this field, and if red gets what a monastery with the road, that would be a big tile for them. And
Double
look at
invasion.
that. Yes, I like
Invasion.
that. Going for the 50-50. Recognizing that he doesn't have a lot of chances in this game, but if red does get the monastery with the road, I think this will put him right back up because this will a move that will give him 15 points.
Yeah.
The reason why I said 15 is, and look at that, and he gets it.
Yeah, very nice move.
Of course, it required some luck, but Red recognized his win condition and went for it. Now there's also an opportunity to take this field outright. However, we probably expect that Blue will expand his field instead, and now Blue has a 9-point field over here. What does Red do over here? So he probably wants to have some sort of curve to take a 6-point road, and then maybe try to connect to this field, but not much what you can do with a city cap, and it's well, usually it would be quite ungrateful to complain about city caps because city caps are so good, but I just don't
Alexey,
see.
I will be back in 5 minutes, okay? I
Yeah, yeah,
just need to answer my wife in the other side of the wall. 1 second.
yeah, yeah. So now it's just us, and we're trying to figure out what to do with this city cap, and I don't have a really good idea. So I'm just gonna wait for the Chinese player to make his decision and surprise me. I hope this move is something interesting. In the meantime, let's have a look at what you guys are saying. Chris Wallace is saying, such a shame that the Japanese player isn't 700 ELO, because then, for Doctor Who fans, it would be the Doctor versus the Master. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Red could have saved his monastery. I'm not sure which monastery you were referring to because oh, with this T junction, yeah. But Red's monastery weren't really any under threat if you're talking about this. This monastery is really not that important at all. So some crucial quick points for Red. Still, Red can't seem to just get a curve over here. And look at that, red again found a productive move. So he prevented blue from getting 2 more points for this city. What a brilliant use of a city cap. And to be honest, like, I really couldn't find an idea how to use it. Now, with the blue meeples, I don't even know what we can do. So it's a very good move over here. The Japanese player trying to secure entrance. The entrance to his 9-point field. It will likely remain at 9 points. And the red player will not be able to join, but also the Chinese player is now in some time trouble.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Nothing much had happened, just two players extended exchange with moves that don't give many points, but develop the landscape in favorable ways, and now the Japanese player is trying to think where to deploy this beautiful, beautiful shield. Not many options though. So he could either score 1 point for his monastery.
Yeah.
Like over here. He could take a 6-point ruin over here. 5-point road. Probably not as good as a 6-point ruin. But that's pretty much it, really.
Well, 1 point for now sounds... well, still 4 tiles remaining in the pile.
It looks like blue still has the edge. Actually, it's going to be a game which will have like a 2-point difference. I think we should count it up. That's kind of the best thing I could do. So red is at +2. Red is at +1 in this square over here. So red is at +3. Equal. Red has 4 points. Blue has 7. So red is at -3. So it's completely equal. And actually, red is at -1 because this 8-point monastery is 1 point less than this 9-point field. So if blue takes this thing over here, he'll be at +2. But if red gets any sort of curve, and we can double check if this curve still exists, then red immediately gets 7 points and probably wins the game. So there are no simple curves remaining. There are no curves with a triangle. There is a curve, however, with a city cap, and that's a critical tile that they're going to be flipping for.
Yeah. At this moment, is blue winning by... No, it's
1 point, no?
1 point?
Oh no, it's tied. It's tied.
It's tied. I think it's tied.
Yeah, because I counted this monastery as 7 instead of 6.
Okay.
So then blue can either make himself +1, or blue can make himself +5 and lose his last meeple.
It's a very interesting end.
I do feel that, yeah, it all looks just like just a flip for this tile.
For the curve, right?
Yeah. For the curve with the city. However, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait a minute. There's a crossroads remaining.
A simple crossroad.
A simple crossroads. A triple crossroads.
Yeah.
So it looks like... I mean, I'd be surprised if red doesn't win this. Because I think the only way what could happen is that, like, imagine a scenario like this maybe. So blue takes this 1 point over here. Okay, so he doesn't do that. So
Oh,
instead, so now his blue is at +6. Yeah.
+6, and this tile isn't very good for. Yeah, but I think the chances for red now are really big, as we have one curve, the crossroad. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure actually how big they are. Wait a second. So he's gonna have 2 more moves, and he's gonna hope for. Well, actually, it could be not very big. It could be just 50%, because he needs to draw this stuff on his next move.
Ooh.
Okay, here comes the curve. I think I know why he did that. Maybe he calculated there's one more city cap remaining. Yes, there is a city cap with a road, but it's not the same thing.
Now he should block the city closing if it's possible, at least.
Exactly.
Because there is one seat with the curve for the, as we call in Brazil, curve for the left, but it depends on the reference, I know. But let me see if there are more closings. 1, 2, 3, não. 1, 2, não.
In the meantime, the Chinese captain equalizing the duel on table number 5. I wonder if that's the one that we're gonna watch next. That is quite possible.
Well, I think Ianoshi should put a feud for the side of the city. Am I right? To avoid the closing. Oh, I was wrong.
And he wins the flip.
Yeah, but I think it was a little bit risky, because if red takes this tile, he would close one more city and would do 6 points, 3 points more. I mean, in the
So it
farm.
would have been tied, and then and then the player with the blue meeples could just add 1 more point to his city, perhaps.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was better to put feud for the city. I don't know if I was clear.
I know. So basically, Melvin was suggesting to make the same move, but with the other side. Yeah, it seems to me that it was really all about this spot and about this tile in particular. And once that blue drew it, he secured the game. But definitely, I think red managed to work out a great comeback option. It just didn't quite work out until the end. But this connection through the 9 point monastery was quite aesthetically appealing, as I find. And we have our upset. We're gonna have Yanochi here defeating who might call the strongest Chinese player at the moment. And I don't think I can wait. I have to refresh the game, which I always do. By the way, Melvin, do you typically let the game count out the points, or do you do the refresh like I just did when you play
It
yourself?
depends on how anxious I'm in the day. When I'm very anxious, I refresh. Sometimes I'm more relaxed and I watch it counting. It depends on the day. There is no standard. I know you like to refresh, right?
Yeah, like, if you're gonna give me bad news, just give it straight to me. That's my uh, philosophy. Well, yeah, and the Japanese player is securing the most important upset. You see, 3 points, 83 to 80. Quite a close
Yeah,
game.
very nice.
Lots of blocking.
So now, what's the score? The scoreboard? How it is?
So, well, basically, it's 2-0 for Japan, and
Mm.
China can't afford to lose any single game.
Ooh.
So we have options. We can either watch Metawa or we can watch the duel. We can watch the Chinese captain.
Okay, Mem 9.
Yep, yep, yep. Let's see if we have any commissions from our audience. But yeah, China has to win every single game.
Yes. And the bio of Mem 9 is never give up. So, never give up. Let's see what happens now in Pyro versus Meme 9. Is it the game?
Yep.
Okay.
Huh. Well, you all recommended me this stuff, but if I try to... So the first suggestion doesn't even match. Okay, 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 okay. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, so we have the middle game, which is quite an equal middle game. So we're going to try and make sense of this. It looks like the Japanese player has some sort of advantage because the Japanese player was just able to save his monastery. There's still one, two, three. There are 3 triangles remaining that fit in this hole, and also this 9-point field is now up for grabs. I like Red's position a lot over here, so things do not really look good for China, even though there's still many options. The Chinese player probably going to continue his city, and there's still plenty of triangles to build that city up. However, Red just simply has more meeples in the long term. So this is a vulnerable square over here. There are 2 tiles remaining that fit here, but when Red completes his city, he's going to create some pressure on this monastery. So, but I think it's moves like this that will take the last chances away from green. I don't know. I don't know why you'd ever do something like this. It was a perfect tile for completing the city.
The
Now,
city, right? The below city
yeah, yeah,
for green.
exactly. Because there's just so many triangles remaining. It would be a super safe area, and there will be an option to block the city later. Like you don't have to block on every single move. Surprise me, surprise or not. And we saw the consequences of this. So remember the T-shaped crossroads with which did you see how close the result of the last game was? It was only 3 points. So imagine had the Chinese player had spent a couple more tiles on scoring point rather than blocking. That's all the point difference for you. So this typically I only block either when my opponent is about to complete a really big feature, or if the block has 100% probability, or at least a high probability, where I know that my block really makes the game hard for them. It takes a lot of tiles away from them. I typically don't try to go simply just hoping that my opponent won't get the tile, because they will eventually. They actually are most likely to get this tile. So now, obvious to do if you're green here, you can't really meeple this city because there's only 1 tile remaining that fits over here. So you're just gonna leave this flip over here. You could meeple the Shroud, but to be honest, I like this move without a meeple as well. And then maybe when you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, when you get one of the 3 remaining straight lines, then you meeple it after, something like this. But I think the main value of blocks like this, it's actually quite an impactful block that the Japanese player managed to do, because so at some point the Japanese player placed this tile over here, and he was not only blocking, but he was also starting a city for himself. So that's why this wasn't a complete block. And also, even if Green gets this stuff, he was forced to now take only 1 point by completing his monastery instead of taking 4 points over here. So that's what these blocks do. They make you use tiles in suboptimal ways. Well, now, of course, Green is listening to us, is trying to complete his city, but imagine had he done this with the previous tile, that his city would have been so much closer to completion. Well, I'm most curious to see what the fate of the city is going to be. Now, probably... Oh, look at that. And no meeple still.
Just in time.
Just in time. That's important. You see, this is an important block because it's a high impact block. It takes away multiple tiles from your opponent, and now there's only one tile that fits here, and it's a move that adds 1 point to your monastery and brings 1 point and brings you 1 more point closer to completion, and actually also makes your monastery more secure. So that's the kind of block that we do want to conduct. And look at that. In the meantime, this city would have been completed already.
Yeah, exactly.
Now the Japanese player here with the tempo move, taking 9 points for this field, and now already 17 points ahead on the scoreboard, which is why when you're behind, it's so crucial to take points. And now you got to meeple this road. There's just too many points. You can't give it away. Now this is about to get finished at some point, probably. And look, and then the Japanese player scores 4 more points. But remember earlier, Green had this tile over here. So this is the power of these kind of well executed blocks, because not only Green was forced not to have the 4 points over here, but now Red got the chance to take this over here. So as a result, this exchange gained Red multiple potential points. I'm so surprised that both players are talking really fast. I can't even follow the action. And now, as you see, we're gonna have a problem over here because Red is preparing to attack this city, which is why it was so important to listen to the streamers and continue city, because I just can't see how he can defend. I know what you have in mind, Melvin, but I think it's... What do you have in mind, Melvin?
No, I was just counting the triangles with roads, but there is only one.
There's only one. So you can't really save yourself like this, can you?
I don't know if it's better to wait than the opponent. I would wait for one. I would definitely.
In the meantime, we have huge...
Yeah, now Pyro has this strong option to invade it or just block it. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, to invade it.
In the meantime, Melvin, we have a huge update. Look at the scoreboard. So the Chinese player with Screen and Metal Cat won their second match and gave a big point for China. But in the meantime, the Japanese player with the screen name CAB180 gave Japan the 3rd World Championship title.
Congratulations, my friends from Japan.
Yeah, awesome. Congratulations, Japan, for such a dominant performance in the last 3 years, even with a completely revamped squad.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. They have new names. Many players from the previous teams, they retired from the WTCC, and well, it's amazing. It's amazing. I really admire Japan for the team. They are always practicing together, always helping each other. They have a very good spirit. I'm really fan of Japanese team. Of course, all my respects to the Chinese team, but I really love the Japanese guys. So congratulations. I'm very happy with this result.
And it looks like it's going to be 4-1, actually, not just 3-1, because look at the city over here. So he won the coin flip, although... And he even chose to take a meeple back instead of taking these 10 points over here.
Yeah. I would take the 8 points, I guess, honestly. But
10.
Yeah, but of course, I like the idea of taking meeple back at this point.
Yeah, indeed, and there's not much that that green can do. Well, green could have finished this city, but all right, I'm gonna drop this subject. But I just wanted to show you that how important it is not to just block, but actually to occasionally build something for yourself. Because remember, the player who wins, I just got to remind you the rules of Carcassonne. The player who scores most points wins the game, not the player who has the most meeple in hands at the end of the game. The only reason why blocking works is because it could prevent your opponent from scoring points in the long term, but it not always does.
Yeah, exactly.
Take this road, take this road, take this road. Road.
Yeah, this road is nice.
Still not almost unblockable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's still a sufficient number of straight lines. There's still 2 straight lines, and there's still 1 T-shaped crossroads. More than enough to try and have some fun over here. I don't think that red is at real risk of losing this game anymore, despite this nice long road by green. But you know, we will see. We will see. The only thing that is a bit unfortunate is that we didn't guess the right game. It would have been, you know, nice to actually see the game where Japan steals the deal while we bet on this one, but it turned out to be the player on the board number 1. We might actually, I know if anybody's interested, we might just go through that game and do some quick analysis, just to have a see like which game actually decided the thing.
I like the idea of trying to invade this road, even if the invasion is not successful. Because Mim 9, he needs to make points. Of course, he's behind in the scoreboard, and making the opponent losing time when he needs to score, it's very important. And well, I like the idea of invading it even if it's not successful in the end. But well, he did different. But I think invading road was a very good option as well. It's like sacrificing 1 meeple, but at least you make your opponent lose some time blocking again and waiting more tiles again. And everything Mim doesn't need is to wait for tiles at this moment. Oh, good. Very good option there.
Yeah, lots of points. 7 points with just 1 move.
Yeah.
And also,
and
there's only 1 tile remaining, the quadruple city that fits in this hole, so it looks like green will have the advantage in this mini battle. And we don't know, maybe the big city tile was discarded early in the game. We don't know that because we just recently joined.
Let me see.
In the meantime, red could probably start to ring road. There is a sufficient number of couriers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not that many, but there's also triple crossroads, so you could actually consider taking some 4 points. You could consider taking this 4-point road, even though this leaves the field a little bit vulnerable. That's actually another thing why I liked this move. Taking the road.
Just a tip for maybe someone don't know it. To look if a tile was discarded, you just gotta go to the log in the right side, load it all, and then you do Command F for Apple or Ctrl F in Windows, and you type discard. So you discover if some tile was discarded. It's just a tip. I don't know. Maybe most of you know that, but well, this is I think a quick way to discover if some tile was discarded or not.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, just Ctrl F and discard, and you discover it.
Because sometimes when I'm nervous in a tournament match, I just go through the logs manually until the end to see. Although, could it be possible that my opponent discarded a tile and then he didn't tell me or something?
Yeah.
Well, it does look like green here is doing everything possible to mount a comeback. Um, Not sure if that's going to be enough. However, I think if green manages to separate this road, then they do have a chance. And if they manage to connect to the fields, if they win the flip for the triple crossroad, it is quite possible. Because they have this ruin over here, they have the advantage in the mini battle over here. There's still one city splitter in the game, and they could end up scoring 8 points for the city over here and getting a meeple back. Not anymore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it was always an option right over here. It's now not possible to connect to this ruin because all triple cities are out. So this move that some of our viewers might be thinking, with placing this city splitter and then placing the meeple on this piece of city cap, all the rights, just would not work. Right. Oh, and of course, if we're speaking about congratulating the winners, way more important than the World Championship is the fact that this 20-year anniversary edition physical Carcassonne set is going to Belgium to our viewer with a screen name Crafty Raf. So who was more precise than 22 other viewers who predicted the outcome of the championship. So Raf guessed not guessed, but predicted, that's the more correct word, using his analysis skills and stuff, not only the first but also the second and third place in this championship. By the way, also got to remind you, so this is our last stream of live commentary for quite a long time. However, there is going to be other content on the channel coming up. Some videos about certain topics, games, analyses, anything that's not live. And if anybody, if any country is having a national championship still in the online format, please let me know, because I'd be happy to stream that too. And also, we're now close to 300 subscribers on this channel, which is awesome. I'm planning a special event for 300 subscribers, and you can help with some more giveaways, so you can help making that moment come sooner by subscribing yourself and telling your friends about this. I know, Melvin, do you have any idea what to do with the city splitter here? Like, you're the Japanese player. You want to secure 100%. What do you do?
I was thinking about the spot next to the meeple on the road of green. I was counting the straight roads now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there is one straight road, right?
I think 2, no? Oh, one. You're correct. You're correct. You're always correct.
One. But the problem is that there is one closing city cap with road, the initial tile. No more initial tiles. So yes, I found the perfect spot, I think. With the road, with the city for the road, making the green need initial tile. There is no more in stock. It's impossible to block the invasion of the road. It's impossible, because yes, it's impossible. So because we have still it's impossible to block, but of course you can do it with a crossroad. But I think it's better because the straight road would be useless if you put the tile here next to the road. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So I think this would be the best option in my at least in my mind. you avoid the straight road problem, and you can even farm if you want. But well, it's not necessary. Just
Melvin saying that farming is not necessary. I'm not used to hear that.
yeah. I doubt on my own words. Maybe I would farm actually. Yeah, I
Well,
would prefer to do it there, just to avoid the blocking of the invasion with the straight road.
but I guess
Because
Reds, yeah.
there is no more triangle with road, there is no more closing with the curve, there is no more triple castle with road. So it would have been possible to use the city to avoid the invasion.
That would have been quite a beautiful move actually. So just to say, basically, was what Melvin was suggesting was the blocking square of a blocking square, just leaving the opportunity to snatch off this huge road for green. I do like your move, but then red decided that there's still some city caps in the
Yeah,
game, and that red
it's
could get
an
some
open
more
farm.
points.
Yeah, it's open farm. It's very good.
I do see a major point scoring opportunity for.
Oh, he problem that I mentioned. But well, Pyro at least took it. What's perfect.
Yeah, and now it doesn't work. And now you know, okay, here's what he has to do now. Meeple this 3-point farm and hope for
The crossroad.
the crossroads. Okay, you meeple this 3-point farm, and then maybe like you meeple, I don't know. I think you have to do like something risky like this in order to get anywhere in this game. Even though it actually doesn't look so bad, right? This ruin's pretty big. This road's pretty long. Here's the the mini battle advantage. And if you equalize this field, green could very well squeeze out a point for China in this encounter. In the meantime, while the Chinese player is thinking, I'm gonna need to remind you to congratulate Team Japan by clicking the like button. What could be a better way to congratulate Japan? I can't think of one. Alrighty, there we go. Now comes the good risky stuff, just how I like it.
I really like it.
Well, the Japanese player won another important coin flip. Well, he'll probably score 4 points over here. He could equalize the farm, but I'm not sure how necessary that would be. 4 points is a lot of points.
Oh, maybe 4, maybe 3 in the farm, because he would invade together, and there is a small possibility of entering more 3 points in the farm. Maybe he can take 3 points instead of 4. Only 5 tiles remaining. Maybe it worth the. I mean, putting the meeple on the farm and not 4 points just to invade together, or well, I mean, doesn't make sense to green to make the 3 points with the crossroad after it.
Then the question is, how badly do you need to preserve this farm? Okay, so let's try and count this out. Let's try to feel ourselves in the shoes of the Japanese player here. So 4 of 3. So will you listen to Alexei or to Melvin?
So I think can I answer Nico?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what happens.
Oh,
4 points. Okay, it's very good.
I think he just calculated that it will be enough for him.
Yeah, the problem is now Mem can invade with two meeples, I think.
But maybe it's not such a problem. Maybe that's what he. I mean, I think he should invade with two meeples.
Yeah, but it's not a problem for Red at this moment, maybe. But it will turn into a 12 points feud.
Oh right, yes. But then
Yeah, this is a problem.
12-point field. Let's see if that would be enough for a comeback or not. Actually, but 12-point field and this ruin, then this roads, and then this mini
I
battle.
think I think maybe it's not.
Yeah, you look at that. I think there is a
Hello, ma'am.
chance.
Are you
There is a chance for
Yeah,
red to
now,
lose the game, perhaps.
yeah.
Oh, how many triangles are there? Do you know what I want to do? Yes, I think it
To
works.
make, yeah, I got it.
Basically, what I think is that we could try and make a city that would be worth 10 points, or even 12 points if there's a triangle with a shield. And in the event that green draws this tile that gives him the main farm, we at least get 10 or 12 points in compensation. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4, 5, 6, 7,
there is
8,
one
9. One triangle remaining. That's not
one
very good, is
triangle,
it?
and it's nice because it's that situation where the greens need the two tiles, the crossroads and the triangle. Well, but Pyro did it. Yeah, very good.
But again, I have to say it was quite a stroke of luck there because I think so. He absolutely had to take this cap or this tile.
Yeah, he had to bet in a closing tile or in the triangle, in a city cap or triangle. Well, he chose right, but
Yeah. So without the city cap, red would have had uh 14 fewer points
look
because
at that. Look at that. It was by 1 point. So without the city cap, it would not be possible actually.
not only without the city cap, but without the city cap and the monastery.
And the monastery, exactly. Yeah, it's great.
So
So do you think maybe taking the farm in that moment was something important
I
when I
think so.
mentioned
Yeah,
it, not
I think so.
taking
I think you were actually right. Probably uh, red had to.
it? Okay. So quickly answering Nico. Nico, we had a problem with BJ. BJ doesn't allow any more rematches in the tournament with the same time. So we needed to make a huge effort to make something different. That was the problem. He asked why it's 10 matches Swiss's tournament. Was this the last game?
This was the last game, and Japan has officially won this match 4-1, just steamrolling through the playoff stages. 4-1 against Chile, 4-1 against RCP, 4-1 against China. Let's actually have a look at Japan's journey real quick, and then I think we could come back with some analysis. So let me just do this. No, 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 no. And then if we just see the bracket here. So Japan, yeah, indeed, 4-1 against RCP, 4-1 against China. Oh, that was quick, already updated, and we have Japan as our champion. And against Chile, and Japan also won their group, losing only one match, I believe, against the United States, if I'm not mistaken. It was just a dominant performance throughout the tournament.
Congratulations to Carcassonne, Catalonia. It was really fast. It's already updated. Jesus.
Yeah, that was actually an amazing organizing job today. I think there's so many things that improved about the tournaments. The rules are clearer. The time format is better. We managed to take advantage of the limited options that BGA provides and really make the most out of it. So
yeah,
it looks like things are headed in the right direction already. But I think we can talk about some Carcassonne a little bit more, because it was quite a short match, it seems to me. Less than 2 hours. I mean, it's not short, but from China and Japan, I would typically expect longer. Would you like to have a look at the decisive game, at the game that secured the title for Japan?
Yeah, are you asking me?
Yeah. I'm asking you.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. And David Tercero said that the full results are already available, so you can go to carcassonne.cat and you can see the full classification.
Okay, let's do that first. I think that's more interesting. So, so this is the knockout round of final. I think this would be ranking. No.
Yeah. No. World Team Championship final result 2022.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's just a new. So.
It's a new tab.
I'm gonna scroll down to just. It's obviously first Japan, China, RCP, Portugal. So 5 is the US. So the 5th place is the US. Surprisingly, that Belgium is only in 8th place because they won their group. I would expect them to be the 6th or the 5th. Chile in number 7, Catalonia number 7. So even though very strong team, that is a bit of a downgrade from their usual top 4. Chile, fantastic performance in the top 6, so they didn't qualify last time, but they only lost, kind of understandably lost to Japan, like everybody else. Again, a couple of surprises in the top 10. Spain, Netherlands in number 9, Mexico 11, Taiwan, Czech Republic, United Kingdom 15th, right in the middle there, Brazil. Germany unexpectedly did not qualify for the playoffs and is only one spot ahead of Malaysia and France. And then in the unusual 19th and 20th place, we have the third and fourth place finisher in the European Championship, Romania and Latvia. And the remaining teams, Hungary, Hong Kong, Argentina, Colombia, and Slovakia. All with a couple of wins, but not enough to qualify for the playoffs. So many surprises here, but not such a big surprise for the first place. My only hope is that now Japanese players don't lose interest in participating in this tournament again. But I don't know, maybe next year they will bring a team of 10 completely new players. Righty. I don't know. What do you guys feel? Was there any team that surprised you in particular? Only 8th, asking Craft Giraffe from Belgium. Yeah, I also was a bit surprised. I was actually curious, do we have anybody here from Carcassonne Cats? So how do the tiebreakers work? So for example, when 4 teams bust out in the same playoff stage. So how are the places distributed? Do you look at their overall stats, or do you look at the score of their quarterfinal match, or do you look at their performance in the group stage? Do you know how the tiebreakers work, Melvin?
No, I don't. I think David Tercero can answer.
Reverse
Japan.
alphabetical order. That would be a great tiebreaker. We could just do that instead of the tournament.
No, not a good idea at all.
And of course, big news for today, just in the honor of this tournament. Exactly today, Le Tour de France 2022, the biggest cycling tour, finishes in the city of Carcassonne. It was very nice of them to schedule the circuits according to the World Championship in Carcassonne schedule. Edgar saying that wanted to highlight Team USA, who's the only team to have defeated Japan here. So probably, maybe that's how you get the top 5. The tiebreaker is whoever wins against Japan at least once.
It's a good tiebreaker.
Yeah, I think kind of every year Japan loses one game and one game only. So last game they lost against the United Kingdom, which I guess the UK players will still remember for a long time, and against the United States. So they just decided to win everybody else to compensate. Alrighty. Okay. Percent of matches won and percentage of duels won overall. So these are the tiebreakers. So actually, it's an interesting thing because Belgium won their group. Belgium skipped one match and as a result has the lowest win percentage. So for example, Catalonia, who's in spot number 7, they needed to play in the round of 12 and they lost the same number of games as Belgium did. So
Oh, now it's okay.
Okay, so
Oh,
actually,
okay. They changed it. Now Belgium is 7 and Catalonia is 8. Thanks, David.
yep, thank you. And I guess the Belgium team can thank us, the streamers, for hustling them into 7th place.
David, can you change Brazil for United Kingdom? Just quick, please. I don't know if I have any requests for David.
Yeah,
Alexey.
can you also, I don't know, put Latvia in the top 10 at least? That would be helpful. We didn't win the games to do it ourselves, but maybe Spain won't get too offended. Yeah,
Oh,
I guess we could just ask for places now. Alrighty, so I suggest that we just do some analysis because I think it's a game that's really worth looking at. So I'm going to try and get the numbers right.
Do I follow you through Skype?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, that's probably best. Can you see my screen all right?
I can see, yeah. Do you want to use any tool for analyzing?
Yes,
analysis?
I'm going to use the scripts
from David.
from
David.
David from Spain.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, what did I do? No, not like that. Not like this. So just their most recent game. So the only one with 3 points. It is unfortunate that they use
the new art.
Yeah.
You can choose the other player. Maybe the other player used the old art.
No, but I guess we kind of wanted to see it from the winner's perspective, so we're just gonna try and live with it, I think. I'm not sure if... Oh man, now we. How does that work? That's so unfortunate that I don't speak Japanese. I kind of feel stupid
Oh,
about that.
a tip if you want to discover where a second account is from or a mysterious account, you just watch a replay game. In the replay game, you discover at least the language that the accounts use. Just if you want to make the detective work in BJ. Oh, where is this account from? I don't know, Tanzania from. So you just go there, you watch the replay, and you can see the language at least.
Thank you, Melvin. This is an excellent tip actually, because it is quite common to have second accounts and to use
Yeah.
them in arena mode just to like play risk free and try to make other players look ratings. I think it's quite petty, so I don't do that. And also, I don't care if other players do that against me. I just win anyway. At least that's sort of my philosophy.
Yeah, but this is a tip for the detectives on the shelf. People who like to discover where accounts are from. Okay, let's go to the analysis.
All right, standard moves at the start. So when will our see our first surprise? Here's our first surprise. Um, yeah, so starting a city in a relatively vulnerable position, and now, of course, we expect the Chinese player to try and
Yeah, the
block
problem is
this.
that the Chinese player he created a spot for blocking himself, so it's a problem. I think it's intelligent by Cab because it's hard for Red to attack because he creates a spot for blocking himself.
Oh, I wouldn't bother about it because, like, the thing with the roads, it's not such a huge blocking spot. I would just do it. Yeah, I would. I agree with
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Chinese
he did.
player here.
Yeah, yeah.
But of course, Green is the first to draw a monastery and to control this meeple, so this already gives him the opening advantage. Now what, do we have 3 points over here? Probably.
Yeah.
And now creating a soft square over here, but we have yet another monastery meeple, and again, I'm not exactly sure where Green is gonna put this. Probably on the left, what do you think, Melvin? Even though it continues
I
your
like it.
opponent's rod.
Yeah, I like it. Or yeah, I like it as the well. This is the other option I was thinking about. I think both are great.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does kind of help out your opponent quite a bit, but you get these extra points for building
Yes,
up your own
exactly,
city.
exactly. You optimize your turns in the future.
And now you can even, well, there's a variety of moves that you can do. You could place this curve like
Y- y-
this
Yes, with Meeple.
with a meeple, exactly. Just to have this 2 versus 1 mini battle. You could place this curve like this with a meeple again, trying to start ring road and make it a bit easier to complete your monastery. You could, I mean, this is just an ambitious move, I think. Although it also works because it secures a square next to monastery and creates an indirect blocking platform. So I guess we're just gonna see what the Japanese player is gonna do here.
Yeah, very good. The ring road, is it the name you call ring
I
road?
call that a ring road, yeah. Obviously, I mean, this is quite likely to be connected in the end. And now the the fairy here leaves two vulnerable squares from
Yeah,
to green, but green is not really bothered.
yeah, yeah. I think this is the basic move. Balala goes to the blocking for sure, and well, green saves it.
An interesting
I
green.
would Meeple.
Well, but the thing is, like, it also can be quite risky with meepling this, because here's what happens: like, if you don't meeple in this situation, then your opponent takes the city and equalizes this. If you meeple with
Yeah,
this situation, your opponent blocks two meeples.
yeah, but there is two in stock with the curve for this side, so I don't think it would be a huge problem, but I like the idea of anticipation. Like it's obvious that in the next tile, if red takes a castle, he will take it for sure. So, but it didn't happen at least.
Yeah, exactly. And I think maybe just looking at the overall situation, so Green was thinking here that it's not such a tragedy if Red equalizes his city. I mean, it's not
I
like it's a
think
gigantic
okay.
city anyway. because green still has this monastery, and let's say if red is forced to spend a city tile on this move, then we still have an extra move where we can harass this city cap somewhat, just do other things. And also, okay. I'm surprised he didn't want to start an attack on the city, but it just worked out perfectly for green over here, and there's really not much that red can do. Probably you have to block, but then it's not going to be 100% block. You could also just take this 5-point road as a compensation. Not sure how I feel about that. The block does feel necessary in this situation, and he
Yeah,
does it.
but 12 tiles, right? It's a lot.
Well, I mean, it says 12 tiles, but in reality, it's 7
Yeah,
tiles that completes
you have
immediately.
those five that doesn't count. Closing are just how many we have? 8, right?
Yeah. Wait, 7, no?
No. Yeah. Sorry, 7.
Alrighty, well, there's let's see how greedy the Japanese player is. I would probably just continue my ring road. I would maybe over here instead of over here, just to try and put some pressure on this city. If green is extra greedy, they could just take a 5-point road. It is quite risky. I think probably not worth it because there's still many city tiles remaining in this spot. It's quite sensitive. However, if you do get away with it, then you get just a huge number of points. Is that something you'd ever do, Melvin?
No, I think I would not be so greedy. I would just do the ring road. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and does
And
it from above.
yeah, exactly.
Works out with perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we now continue the block.
Yes, perfect.
And I guess all we do here is just wait. Well, now we can take that road.
Take this road. Yeah, for sure.
Interesting. Oh, I think maybe the idea here was that green thinks that he'll still have time to take the road because red will still be preoccupied with the city. Because now red has a choice, actually, whether to take a 6-point road or to block the city over here.
I think he will block. Try to
Yeah.
not block, but restrict.
Significantly restrict though, so this city is very unlikely to be completed, but still it doesn't matter. It's still going to give 7 points until the end of the game, and now it forced red to spend a huge tile on this. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I do this. Maybe I'd risk it. I mean, it's still possible to. No, I agree with this move over here. This city quite urgent. You can't really give this to your opponent. But then still, just by building this city in a risky position, it forced red to spend a tile that's normally worth 4 points, and also make his city slightly more vulnerable.
Now the road is very, very nice to take.
You have to, yeah. And don't worry about this city. It will get blocked, and so be it. It's already
Oh, I think,
yeah.
of course, it's hard to close this city, but the only way to do it is taking the triple castle with road, then you take the closing with the curve, and something to close in this position where we have the number 30. It's okay, many it's some possibilities for it, but I think Balala could kill the possibilities just closing it here and putting the city closing for below. So it was impossible to close it. It was something to not care during the whole game. It won't be closed at all. But well, I like the move that he did too.
Sure, I like the move. I really
Yeah.
don't like leaving an empty city cap of 6 meeples.
Yes.
So it seems to be like the first kind of obvious mistake to me in this game.
Yeah. There is something that I really don't like very much is to see my hands and see many meeples in it. I feel like, okay, I'm wasting too much meeples. I need to put them on the game. So I see that some players like to have meeples on the hand for a long time, and I think this is the case of Balala. Has six meeples, and he or she, I think she, preferred to not spend one more meeple. But well,
Well, let's see how Green capitalize on it. Could just take immediate 4 points. Could take his meeple back over here. Could take his meeple back over here, which is what I would do probably.
yes, I would do, and he took the 4 points.
But look at that, yeah, and just doesn't care about his city. Wants to clean off the city cap instead. However, he could get into trouble because we know that Chinese players like blocking, and then he could do. Um, well, let's see what he does, but he could block either the city or he could start blocking.
It was interesting for Cab 180 to put in this spot 29 here below because he would have a possibility of closing it. But well, I think it didn't worth the
Yeah,
effort.
exactly. It's just
Yeah,
it seems
yeah.
to be a bit unnecessary.
Now it's blocked, okay, and Balala would block anyways. So yeah. Mm.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, so
Hmm.
I probably prefer move that like a little bit to the left, trying to leave some options because the thing is the city's unlikely to get to be completed, but you want to make it into a ruin.
Yeah, but it's nice because forces Balala to not use this tile to make points, and Balala needs points. So it's quite interesting that Balala was forced to use the monastery for blocking and not making points, and Cab keeps running
That's
in
true.
point.
And now this tile is huge. And now also you got to ask yourself a question: do you just continue scoring points, or do you try and block this meeple over here? And I mean, it's possible that the Chinese player would just continue blocking.
Yeah, but
Just
how strong is this blocking? This is the question. Dois, três, quatro. Oh, we have the counter here. Sorry, I
yeah, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
see it.
Exactly. That was the whole point of it.
Yeah,
So there, you see the number three over here. So there are
yeah,
three tiles
number
left
three.
remaining.
Yeah, it's not very strong. I would prefer to make points.
Although, but there is a threat though, because green could take a curve and drop a field meeple upon completion. And also, green is now in a situation of low meeples, and red really wants to keep him doing for a longer time. So I can understand some, but then
Okay.
we're in this classic situation where yes, green is at a meeple disadvantage, 6-1 that you think, but green has threats on all sides, and just red keeps chasing, chasing, chasing. Um, and green doesn't even need all his meeple backs. He just needs to have one or two in his hand at all times. Some will survive, and he'll remain with all these points.
And it's pretty easy to take meeples back. Oh, with farm, we didn't see the
Oh
farm.
yeah, with the farmer, then that makes definitely sense.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. And the Japanese went to zero meeples in the hand. It's great. I like it.
Yeah,
But I like also the blocking there in the triple blocking. Great.
yes. And now also, okay, well the Japanese player gets to spend some.
Yeah, yes, 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 yes. Oh, oh, for the 50% in the monastery's end road. Ooh, it is strong.
What do you mean for the 50%?
In the monasteries. Now, I think Balala will block. Not block, but restrict for 50%. Yeah.
Actually, yeah,
Not I think Balala.
yeah, I know, I
Balala.
know, no, I just can't put his tile. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Or he could just simply try and start a new city and then create a block, a platform over here. Because the thing
Mm.
is, there are no triangles with a road remaining, so this spot could become more sensitive. But in this situation, I definitely agree because this would be quite annoying for green over here. So with this kind of block, I agree because it just takes so many options away. And when your opponent is already at 0 meeples,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah, well, this one, again, trying to prevent from finishing, but if green gets a nice stroke of luck, this could be quite dangerous if, for example, green gets a city
Yeah,
cap and
it
another
is
city cap.
yeah, yeah, very decisive.
But then again, if you're playing just if you want to keep your opponents with 0 meeples, if this play does work out, then you just get free reign after that. Okay, and here we go, a huge tile here for red. So not only does it gives
Yes.
him 3 points, and it also gives him 3 points for a field, and now a lot of meeples are
Yeah.
blocked over here. On the other hand, green gets a meeple back. And I'm surprised that Bilal didn't go for this, try to
Yeah.
build a huge road over here. I mean, the Chinese player got to start taking some points at some point.
Now for the invasion of the castle, probably. No, no, no. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
it's
the.
the other one. I guess so. The Chinese player will continue block. Huh? Do you understand this, Melvin?
Not exactly.
It seems like it doesn't do anything.
Okay, so I got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because obviously, like if you start blocking platforms, then I guess you block.
Yeah.
And you see what the Japanese player does. He just like he actually playing with the meeple disadvantage, trying to build, 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 build.
Yeah. Lala can take 6 and farm, so 9 points.
Yeah, and then this field is already 12 points. He's probably gonna get a second meeple there eventually. Now,
Yeah, I think the Japanese can close the 17 spot and wait for the
exactly.
6.
So this is would be quite instructive that you don't close this one because this is vulnerable to attack, but you close
Yes.
this one. At first sight, it's counterintuitive because you're closing the half that's less restricted. Why don't you put where it fits the most? Well, if you count the tiles, you see that there's 1, 2, 4. There's 4 tiles that are still remaining in this place, and with 20 tiles remaining, that's well, it's 20% of the tiles remaining. So actually, you have a very high chance
Yeah.
of being able to secure this. Now, an alternative would be taking 3 points, but I like this a little bit more because it just creates such a huge threat. Let's see if we have any questions from the audience from our moves. Hi, your tile counter software is so cool. Yes, I do believe it's cool. I guess it's just not really mine. So credit goes to David from Spain. I can send you a link in the chat. And also the cool part about it is that it works only for analysis. It doesn't work in real life games, so it is not possible to cheat with this software. It is written in such a way. And you see, and now,
Ooh.
like with all these extra meeples, just green red is forced to chase and chase and chase. It could be quite unpleasant for the player with the meeple disadvantage here.
Yeah. If the Japanese guy had at least one more meeple, he could take this CT just to. I mean, not in this spot here below, but the
Mm-hmm.
left one. But with one meeple in hand, it's too dangerous. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's too dangerous because if your opponent gets a triangle, then you get to block 2 meeples. We gotta
Yeah,
remember that there are no triangles with 2 meeples remaining.
yeah. But there is
So,
the triple castle.
well, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm thinking, what about something like this? Giving yourself 50% over here. And then even maybe going as far as to meepling one of those. I don't know. Or
I
just
don't know.
leaving
It's
them
an
empty.
option, but or just killing the castle of red here. Not killing, but there is one initial tile only. I don't know.
I do quite like this. I guess we just have to look at what the Japanese player did. Yeah, and they did
Yeah.
find some value. And again, another situation where value tile, he's forced to, instead of taking 3 points for a road, he's forced to continue over here. And look, it's actually turns out that it was necessary, because if not for this move, green would have completed the city and won the game automatically. Yeah, of course you have to meeple this because there's still one tile remaining that fits here. And I think it's just very instructive because it shows that even if your meeple ends up getting blocked, just all the time that it takes your opponent to chase you around, it's so point consuming that at the end, despite your meeple disadvantage, you get a point lead that's completely insurmountable.
I think 3 points.
Yes,
Yeah,
3 points over
2
here,
points.
which are
Yeah,
effectively 2 points because you're adding adding a
yeah,
point to
yeah.
your
1
opponent
point for the
monastery.
monastery. I think a good option would be no, not very good. Forget what I would say.
No, I agree with you. I think. Oh yeah. No, never mind, never mind, never mind. I
Yeah,
think
no,
we're
I
thinking
was
about the
thinking
same
about
thing.
that city the in the right side that is opened. There are too many city caps, and you have three meeples, so maybe putting it facing down with 50% of chances, it's still better than waiting for the opponent to close it, because there are many city closings, and well, I think I would take that, even if in the end I would end with 3 points, but you still have the closing and the well, but the other one you would lose there, so it was an option, I think, taking this city cap.
Yeah, I see that, but I was wondering maybe red is not that desperate just yet. There's still room to leverage that meeple advantage over here. So, for example, here, I mean, you probably need to meeple a monastery of some sorts.
Six
Okay,
points here. Yeah, exactly there. Yes.
yeah, and it also takes away a field connection.
Hmm.
I would meeple
Okay,
this
now,
city cap. I would meeple
yes,
this.
yes, I would meeple the city. Okay, yes.
Exactly. Just if not only because that. So maybe giving green this city cap was what
Yeah,
decided the
because
game.
green, let's say green has only one meeple, so you have to take off all the chances of green making quick points. And this was the only city cap available. Not the only, there is one here below, but with many city caps, it's possible for green to make points. The scoreboard is very close, so you don't need to let those kind of spots open for the opponents, because they can make the difference in the game. It's 4 more points for the Japanese. Maybe without these four, the Japanese would not win the game. It's just a possibility, of course. But even sacrificing a meeple, I think it would be nice for Red to take that CT cap, just to avoid the quick points. The quick points are very dangerous for the player with only one meeple. That's the only chance of making points, actually.
Exactly, I completely agree. And also, this wouldn't be so much of a sacrifice of a meeple because if you take this giraffe's neck and then you place it over here, because there's still one city splitter and there's still
Yeah,
this kind of
yeah,
city cap and this kind of city cap, it actually was an unblockable spot. Only your opponent
yeah.
could have reduced the probability, but they could have done so only if they just keep spending extra time on it themselves. Alrighty. So let's see. Yeah, 1 point for the monastery won't hurt. Oh, so look at that. So, and this is the only thing that allowed green to win the game, right? So these 4 points, and now he's spending the last maple on a field connection.
Yeah.
Actually, also on an unblockable field connection, interestingly. So you see there's 2 tiles over here that fit.
Yes.
And if your opponent draws 1 tile, the geometry is such that if they place it over here, the other tile still works for you. So with 5 tiles remaining, oh no, there were 6 tiles remaining. So you get a 50%. You get a no. I forgot about this, but you get something better than a 75%. My brain doesn't work completely now because it's been a long stream, but like really good probability.
So, new streamer in the house, Baloo.
Awesome. So now we're 3.
Okay, he will replace me for some minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. Did you find the exact chance of invading there for green?
Well, I mean, let me try. I'm gonna try to do that. So it's.
But I didn't get exactly this move by red. This move by red. I mean, maybe there were better.
Oh, so that's what lost the game. Maybe red was thinking there was still 1 straight line remaining.
Yeah, the straight line, but there is no straight lines there, so it's impossible to invade in this spot.
Yeah, so actually all red has to do is pretty much straightforward. Just add 1 point to your city, start a new city cap, take one of the many city caps remaining, drop a farmer.
Exactly. This is the point. Exactly. Yes. And I think he could win the game. Actually, it depends on the sequence, but oh.
Yeah, well, it's just quite possible that he was in time trouble as well. Okay, I can't. I
Yeah.
have to do this. So 1/2, and then after that you have So okay, then you have.
Okay, now he probably invades the farm with this.
Yeah. I can't help it. I have to calculate the probability. I can't help it. Sorry. Then it's how many moves do you have left after this? You have 2/5. So it's 2/10. 80% probability of connection to the field.
Perfect. Okay, very nice.
At least my brain is working somehow. So 80% exactly. Yeah, and now look about the predicament over here. So the Chinese player did get a tile with which he could connect theoretically, but it doesn't work because there would be no tiles remaining to connect. So I think, yeah, there's really not much to do here. He could just simply try adding points to his city. He could try connecting up top. Well, let's see what he goes for. Oh yeah, that works actually pretty well. Adding 1 point and hoping to get some stuff. And look at the player with the green meeples over here, very timely blocking this city, not giving your opponent the opportunity.
Yeah, then it was a perfect move because I don't remember the difference. Maybe 3 points.
Exactly, it was 3 points.
Yeah, but I think now red can make 7 points, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So we're gonna have one more little piece for For
Three
Reds,
points, maybe?
yeah, probably. So with all these meeple advantage, Red ended up getting 3 points over here, 3 points over here, like 3 points elsewhere, and as a result, yeah, the meeple advantage was not decisive, and Green found a good spot to deploy his last meeple and connect to the main farm.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like the game was winnable for Red indeed, but I think Green managed excellent play with the meeple disadvantage, just quite courageously trying to build the stuff, even utilizing his last meeple only in situations where
Yeah.
it was a wise idea to do so, where it was relatively safe. And as a result, Red was forced to spend many point scoring tiles, high potential tiles, in order to try and prevent Green from getting his meeple back. And in the meantime, the game was over and Red didn't have time to deploy his extra meeples. So very hard fought, but it's a very well deserved victory for the Japanese player.
Yes, very
Definitely,
precise.
definitely worthy of a game that gives you the world championship title.
Yes. Something that is very interesting, Alexei, is that many Japanese players um, they are not as experienced, oh Jesus, as Spindletron or progressive top line, but you can see the statistics that the elo are increasing during the WTCOC. So it's important to see how these players are developing their games and practicing together. For example, now Cab 180, he's probably next to his peak elo, almost 700 for the first time. Same for other players as Yanoshi Traps, and well, you can see the graphic in the BGA page of each one, but you can see how they are developing so fast the game, and well, it's great.
Indeed, right? Yeah, we see we have many fans of Balu in the chat,
I'm reading it now.
which is of course understandable. So we're gonna start wrapping it up. Unless you have any urgent questions to Melvin or myself, write them in the chat in the next few seconds. I just gotta tell us real quickly what's awaiting us soon. So we're gonna take a few days break from Carcassonne streaming because it's been quite an eventful few weeks. Lots of talking. I really need some water right now to make my voice still work. But after that, we have a 300 subscriber special event waiting for us, and it depends on you when that happens. Hopefully, quite soon, in a few days, maybe a week, I don't know. And then we have a couple of WTCOC games, full video analyses, and then separate videos on a couple of topics that we discussed during the championship and before the championship. This would be tile counting tips, probabilities, and all the essentials of competitive Carcassonne.
Oh, Alexei, do you know something that I think would be nice? If you analyze the games later of the WTCOC, you could call the two guys to comment with you. You're like the mediator, and they talk about their choices, explaining why they choose this or choose that. It would be nice for the analysis, and it could be nice for the community because we could know more faces of Carcassonne that we only know the nickname. So I think it's an opportunity to give players to analyze their own games, and we can know more of them. So I don't know, it's just an idea that I had just right now.
That's an awesome idea, actually, to the point that I think I'm going to do that. So there are a couple of issues, of course, that I think there are going to be some language barriers, but we'll try to overcome them. There are. I mean, I should really just start learning languages which are not European at some point. But this is also one thing that I was trying to do with the streams and with comments, not to having just one commentator, but two. But it's great that we can really extend this to the regular video format. Oscar Heinrich is asking, has the prediction winner been announced? Yes, this Carcassonne set is going to Belgium to Craft Giraffe, who predicted correctly the first, second, and third place in this championship. Alrighty, so stay tuned for more videos. Thank you very much for watching all this World Championship, and thank you, Melvin, so much for
thank you for
sharing
inviting.
your wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure, as always.
Yep, thanks so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.